Hello, hello! It is Bob, and I'm back today on another review here at Total Toy Recon. I thought today we'd deal with a mini vehicle. Now, a mini vehicle is something that is a lower price point for toys. Sometimes you get like a big ship, like a Millennium Falcon or a TIE Fighter. It's a higher price point. Back in the day, you didn't get a figure for the vehicle. You didn't get a driver, or rider, or the pilot that it would come with, or a certain character. G.I. Joe, in the Hasbro era of the 80s, really changed that. They started to include a figure. This is very reminiscent in the packaging, the vehicle, the style of everything to Zartan. The Dreadnought, who was a master of disguise, he came with his own little like motorcycle-y type thing. It was a water sled to ride around in the swamps. Came with a figure. You got the whole bit. So Hasbro took that into the Star Wars era in 1995, and they introduced us to... You got a biker scout with a bike. Kenner did not do this. You got the bike, but you had to buy the figures separate. Kind of seems odd to me. Nowadays, it's pretty much the standard. And it's weird when you don't get the driver now. It's become weird again to not get the driver. So, today, I thought we'd deal with the Imperial Speeder. Now, this is a slightly different Star Wars vehicle. So if you're looking like, okay, that's Rogue One stuff, but I have no idea where this is in Rogue One. This is actually from Star Wars Rebels, the cartoon series. This was released at the same time as the Rogue One toys. So we had a lot of crossover at the time. We had Rogue One, we still had remnants of The Force Awakens, and then we had Star Wars Rebels. So this was one of those bridging the gap kind of toys. Now it comes with an ATDP pilot. Now what is an ATDP pilot? What does he drive? Most of the time, he drives this thing. Yep, this is like a one-man walker. And if you're thinking, wait, what is this from? This is also from the Star Wars Rebels and was designed actually back in the era of Empire Strikes Back. But Dave Filoni knew that there was great artwork in the Star Wars archives and decided, hey, we're going to take this vehicle and we're going to put it into our show and make out the bigger world that is Star Wars. We have the stuff. We have the designs and everything. Let's use them. They've never seen the light of day in a cartoon or a movie. They've only been in art books. Let's use them. So, brought that in today for a nice little example. And as you may have noticed, I've been actually able to bring in examples better since... quarantine has kicked in and I've been able to actually sort out my collection. So that's where this guy came in. So I've had him for a while now. And why did I pick him up? Well, I was a big fan of Star Wars Rebels, one. And two, he actually appeared at Five Below. So this figure and this ship was $5. Now, the original price point was $19.99, and we're going to find out today if it was worth $19.99. That's be the topic of our discussion. First of all, I like the cartoon. Artwork is fantastic on the box as always. It's a little bit, it's a little bit on the design, but it's also a little bit realistic. I think that it's great that they've fleshed out this world. I think this is great in world building for Star Wars, that you can actually do this, have these extra speeder bikes, and it's slightly different than the one we saw that was actually released for Return of the Jedi. So let's open it up, find out if it's actually worth $5. A $5 toy is always awesome. Oh, this box is a little bit different. You open them here at the top. So, $5 toy is always great, but when you get a vehicle and a figure, a little bit more. Plus, as I've been working through my collection, nothing in the box there, I've been working through my collection. When you open stuff, you have more room. What a concept, right? Okay, so fell right out of there. So here's the figure. This is the ATDP pilot. Not a lot of points of articulation, which is fine. And he does come with the Imperial blaster. So he does come not only with a vehicle, but he comes with a gun. So, very cool figure. Obviously, his legs are going to bend. Very much reminiscent of the AT-AT driver, who's got, except he's got a face shield. So a little bit different. And let's make him, since he's considered a bad guy, the left-handed. I always like doing that sometimes. So, decent figure, solid, great to add to your Imperial line. Now, they did release him as a solo figure. when Star Wars Rebels was hitting in its first season, so you could get him. And then I think he may have been in a 2-pack as well. I'm sorry, but that whole line of Star Wars figures at that point is very kind of like was not represented very well on the toy shelf, and Toys R Us was, you know, in fluctuation, so it wasn't really being represented well in the toy line, which could be a reason why the Imperial speeder bike, or speeder, was actually doomed to show up at Five Below. So I did pick it up at Five Below. They had, I should have just got them all. They had Ezra's bike, and then they had a Force Awakens vehicle that was not seen in the movie. So that's another little neat thing that every once in a while, you know, I always regret picking up. It's one of those things that years later you're like, damn, I should have got that. Thankfully, I learned my lesson off of a lot of things off of the first sequel trilogy of the prequels, and was able to buy little things here and there when I saw them on sale, and knew that down the road I'd really want them for the collection, especially when you want a troop build. So no instructions here, but they did include this is a download for your iPhone. So what you do is I would scan the QR code here, a QR code, and then this enables me to add points. I do believe that I do have it on my phone still to this day. Well, I did. Yep, here it is. So I have it right here on my phone. And then basically I'll scan this, I get points, and then it enables me to open up all kinds of little extra content. I can shoot little movies, but the most important thing of it is you need it to actually control the AT-ACT, which is the Giant Walker Troop Transporter. I actually have that, and I'm sad that one day this will not work anymore, and I won't be able to remote control my my walker. So I've decided that I'll probably never get rid of this phone, and I'll just take that and put it in storage so that I can always control it. Sometimes the old phones, because if you don't update them, they'll still run. It'll still broadcast a Bluetooth signal. So some extra points, great. Got a bunch of these floating around. It was a fun thing to do at the time, but Hasbro I think they should have thought of, like, in the long term, somebody buys this vehicle 10 years from now, and all they can pretty much do, it does have buttons and it walks forward, but that's it. So here we go on the bike. Now I was kind of hoping there'd be instructions or some sort of like, like hover thing. There's no clear piece of plastic for it to drive on. So we're going to take the gun out of his hand, and we're just going to soup him up here. Now the nice thing about this is, doubly nice, there's actually peg holes in his feet. So you can move this based on the size of the character. And then you just put him on here, and you put him on there. I doubt that the Zeb that came in this line would actually fit on this bike, despite him actually driving it. So I like that they made this bike, and I can move him back a little bit and ride him up there. I actually like that they gave the bike that you actually sat down on it. So one problem that we've had with the speeder bike in the past is the old one. By the way, you press this button and it explodes. This button right there. Is that the weight of it? I mean, it looks like it's hovering. They've made it in the Black Series that it actually comes with a little stand to give you that flight kind of motion. This was such a cool thing that they did back in the day. Unfortunately, it explodes very easily, comes apart, and it doesn't quite look right because his feet aren't on the pedals to like fly it, and that's how he's shifting gears. Whereas in here, it's more of a sit down kind of ride. So we have a rocket. Now, it hit me in the chest, so that's pretty cool. Heavy duty rocket, and then lock that in there. But we do have some nice scoring here. Or scarring that actually makes it look like it's been lived in. As you can see, like it caught the dirt, kills bugs. Has a great blaster on the front of it. Very cool kind of concept. And, we do have the engines back here, but there's nothing for it to... It almost seems like there should have been something here for it to neither park or float on. So it would have been nice if they would have included something that would give it that ability to fly, or the illusion of it flying. But overall, I think a nice update, a nice addition to the expanded world of Star Wars, which is nice. Now, like I said, there is an Ezra Bridger version of this bike. Comes with Ezra. I may have gotten it. I don't know. I'm actually trying to find it. But at one point, I believe it was sometime back in September of 2019, these were surfacing at Five Below, so they were relatively easy to get. I don't think it's a $20 vehicle. It may be a $12.99 kind of price point, maybe $16.99 in certain markets. It seems, oh, that does elevate. That's nice. It does shoot a rocket. It comes with a guy. He comes with a gun. So I can kind of see where they were going for. It's painted very well. So, all right, as I'm talking about it, I think maybe it is closer to, with way things are priced now, it is closer. It is worth the $19.99 price point. You do get a figure who's probably somewhere between $7 and $8 standalone. He does come with a gun. It's nice. I do like it. So I'd say maybe, yeah, you're getting me as a gift for someone for their birthday, for a kid. I think it might have been a good present. It's not too far out of the range, and then it's definitely something that they can fly around with in the backyard and have some fun. So I do like that as a toy. So there's the two bikes together. Obviously, one for Endor, one for Lothal. And then, just to give you an idea of the scope, there's a Scarif Trooper. And then it fits very well, even though it looks a little newer. Here is the recent Imperial probe droid that we reviewed to give you a sense of, would this fit into the world in which you were playing? So obviously it's different for the planet that it's on. It looks a little bit more cartoony, not quite as realistic as these are, but I still think that the scarring here and the dirt and everything that they've given it does really add that look. Each planet's different, so each planet's going to have its own different kind of special trooper, like the Scarif Troopers are. So, again, thank you for tuning in. My name is Bob from Total Toy Recon, and really appreciate you checking out our reviews throughout the week. And we are adding them to Instagram TV. We're also adding them to our YouTube channel. And then, of course, everything rests on our website, TotalToyRecon.com. So, have a good afternoon. Please stay safe. If you have to go out, wear a mask. Remember, toy hunting right now is not worth it unless you have to go to the store. Have a good day.